Happy Monday to you, fellas. Is dating coach Alan Roger Currie coming at you again? Man, you can tell by me shaking my head. Per usual, I find some of you guys to be amusing, along with being irritating, but more so amusing. People from the category of my haters and critics. I ain't talking about my, followers, Patreon subscribers, financial supporters, people who readily endorse and support my Mo One approach. So anytime I'm having, admonishments, I'm never talking to the people, of course, who support me. But now my very last video had to do, a large part of it had to do with my interview a week ago today, actually. A week ago today, there was a black female YouTuber named Sweet Melody Speaks that interviewed me for almost 5 hours. I still shake my head at that. I've never done an interview that long. I want to say that's the longest interview I've ever done since I've been a book author and dating coach. Unless I'm forgetting an interview. I don't think I've ever been interviewed for almost 5 hours before. Again, I think before I did the interview with her, I think my longest interview was approximately 3.5 hours. But anyway, I had mentioned that there was about 6 or 7 guys in the chat room that was just blatantly hating on me. At least of those 6 or 7, there was at least 2 that were really, really hating on me. I mean, you can say there was about 2 that was just blatantly hating on me. And then there was another 4 to 5 that were kind of semi-hating on me. So I would say there was 2, minimum of 2 that was just blatantly hating on me. And there was another 4 or 5 that were at least semi-hating on me. But I'll start off talking about one of those 2 guys who was blatantly hating on me. I found out why this guy got so much hatred towards me. He ended up outing himself on somebody else's live stream. I ain't going to say his name because I don't want to give him that much credit. But I heard a clip. He was on somebody else's live stream. He was involved in a debate. And he was going after another black male YouTuber. And he made this comment. He said, "I hate all you light-skinned brothers." Yeah, he actually said that. He said, "I hate all you light-skinned brothers, man. You light-skinned, like pretty boy type brothers, man. I hate all y'all. Because y'all are the type of guys that black women prefer. Y'all are the type of black men that black women prefer. And therefore, since you gonna get preferential treatment from sisters, y'all ain't gonna never harshly go in on them the way a brother like me will." And once I heard him say that, I was like, oh, I understand. I understand now. My wife, she heard it too. She said the same thing. We was both like, okay, I understand where this haterade is coming from now. I have to talk about that for at least 5 to 10 minutes, man. What is up with this looksism that a lot of black men are guilty of here on in the black sector of YouTube? I've noticed it ever since I got on YouTube, man. I don't speak out on it too many times, but I've noticed it, man. A lot of brothers, man, and there's probably some non-black guys who are guilty of some degree of looksism too, among guys of their own race. But I definitely noticed as a black man, you got 2 types of guys who are guilty of looksism. See, normally, if you know anything about looksism is normally representative of a good-looking guy expressing negative, critical, disparaging, and or discriminating comments against guys that are less attractive than him. That's the normal version of looksism. Is when you're an attractive man or an attractive woman and you're taking jabs at men or women who are less attractive than you. In this case, you could say it's a form of reverse looksism, where you had guys who consider themselves average looking or less than average looking taking jabs at guys that they perceive as being more attractive than them, more handsome than them. Yeah, it's one or two things, if not both. Some black men just take a lot of jabs at guys who have a reputation for women considering them to be very handsome. So guys that they themselves consider more handsome than them, and more so guys that women consider to be more handsome than them, and or guys that are of a lighter complexion than themselves, if not both of those two. It's one of those two, if not both. I find that disturbing, man. I don't want to go and make the whole video about that, but I'm going to just have it notated, man. I find that disturbing, the colorism. Because I've heard many talks in the manosphere of I've seen many talks in the manosphere among darker complexion black women making the argument that black men prefer lighter skinned black women over darker skinned black women. One black YouTuber in particular, I think her name is Rashida Marie Strober. That's what she's known for on her YouTube chat. Excuse me, I get the hiccups. But I never expected to hear that, man, from the black men. That's very disappointing for a brother. For a brother that's my age, if nothing else, that's just extremely disappointing, man. But I know it exists. I'm not unrealistic. I know that's existed. The one time I've kind of briefly touched on it is when I was a senior in high school. I used to be the target of a lot of guys who hated on me because of a combination of my level of attractiveness, my popularity with the girls, and my complexion. Like, it went as far as at least 5 or 6 times. I had guys that tried to start fights with me. Guys I didn't even know would try to start fights with me. And they would make comments like, yeah, man, I don't like you, man. I know who you are. You Alan Currie. I didn't use my middle name in high school. They would say, you Alan Currie. Yeah, you that light-skinned, pretty nigga that all the girls be going crazy over, man. I don't like you, man. You that light-skinned, pretty nigga that all the girls go crazy over. Yeah, I used to get that a lot, man. My senior in high school, oh, man, it was ridiculous. It was literally ridiculous, man. And off and on, just throughout my 20s, and maybe even a little bit in my 30s, I used to get that from guys who were haters of mine. Yeah, but in my 40s and 50s, I really didn't deal with that much until I came on YouTube, man. Yeah, the most I've dealt with that in my 40s and 50s is since I came on YouTube. Yeah, I've had at least a handful of black male YouTubers that would refer to me as a light-skinned pretty boy or something close to that. And there's supposed to be unity among black men. That's a joke. Ain't never gonna be no unity among all black men. Quote me on saying that. Ever. Ever. From now until the day the earth is, it ain't gonna never be no unity among black men because of petty, stupid shit like that. Black men are only gonna feel unified with brothers who have similar opinions as them, similar attitudes as them, similar beliefs as them, similar behavior as them. Facts, drops mic. That's real talk, man. I be hearing different brothers, man, on YouTube talking about, man, we need to be unified, man. Man, shut that noise up. Shut that noise up. Ain't gonna never be no unified front among all black men. Ever. The type of unity that brothers had in the mid to late 60s during the civil rights movement, that ain't gonna never repeat itself. Because you got too many petty ass niggas. Yeah, I said the N-word. Petty ass niggas, man. I ain't got time for you petty fools. Anyway, so I just had to make note of that, man. Yeah, but I understand now why the brother was hating on me. Again, man, he was going after some other dude talking about, yeah, he said he hates all light-skinned pretty boy type dudes. He said because we're preferred, something to the fact that we're put on a pedestal by black women, and therefore, and consequently, guys like us will never harshly criticize. Well, obviously, this brother ain't never read my book, The Possibility of Sex or No Free Attention. Now, in those two books, I don't specifically go in on black women, but I go in on women. So, you can't put me in that category. But anyway, moving on. But yeah, also under the category of Sweet Melody Speaks, she sent me, as a lot of my followers tend to do, over half the time, I don't like when followers send me audio clips of people basically hating on me and trying to disparage my Mode 1 approach. But I went ahead and listened. She sent me a clip of this guy hating on me. I know who the guy is. I ain't going to give him that much credit, mention his name. He's a somewhat fairly well-known black male YouTuber. Non-black YouTubers wouldn't be familiar with him at all. I've mentioned him at least once on my channel before, but I'm not going to mention him today. Anyway, he was just hating on me. And see, this particular brother I'm talking about trips me out. There's a lot of brothers, man, they can't make up their mind, man. Those are some of the most irritating dudes. I have some dudes who have always taken jabs at me and criticized my Mode 1 approach. Then other guys who have always shown me nothing but love, kudos, and respect. And then you got those guys that are kind of in the middle. There's about probably like 24 guys that are right in the middle. They've been inconsistent with it. It's like one moment you listen to them, they singing the praises of my Mode 1 approach. Then you listen to them 6 months or 9 months or a year later, they dogging out the Mode 1 approach. I literally at minimum could name about 24 guys in the manosphere in general, and more specifically the black manosphere, that would fall into that middle category. Guys who used to endorse, promote, and support my Mode 1 approach, and then later on they flip-flop and start criticizing it. This second brother I'm talking about, he's in that category, man. This brother once on his channel was actually encouraging the listeners and viewers on his YouTube channel to buy my book, Mode 1. Now, within the last 24 hours, he was taking jabs at it and saying that I'll never believe that the Mode 1 approach works until I see an in-field video of ARC demonstrating that it works. Mode 1 always works. I don't know how many times I got to say that. Mode 1 always works. I'll pay you $10,000 if you could prove that Mode 1 don't work. I've said that before. I'll pay you $10,000 if you could prove that Mode 1 don't work. Mode 1 always works. Now, listen to my words carefully. I didn't say that Mode 1 will always help you get a woman in bed. I didn't say Mode 1 will always help you get laid. See, when guys, I did a few videos where I distinguish this. A lot of guys, when they say Mode 1 doesn't work, or I don't believe Mode 1 works, what they're really saying is, I don't believe Mode 1 will help me get a woman in bed. And for some men, they right. For some men, they right. If you are 5'3", you weigh 350 pounds, you got 5 teeth in your mouth, and you only take a bath once or twice a month, guess what? Mode 1 ain't gonna help you get no woman in bed. If you're a repulsively unattractive motherfucker, mode 1 ain't gonna help you get a woman in bed. I talked about that on a recent video. So for guys in that category, they're damn right mode 1 ain't gonna help them get a woman in bed. But mode 1 always works. Here's what I mean when it say mode 1 always works. Everybody knows about my 5 archetypes of women. Matter of fact, I had a guy, on a side note, I was in somebody's comment section. It was a white guy's YouTube channel. And some guy gave me a compliment. He said, I think Alan Roger Currie is definitely one of the pioneers and founders of the manosphere. Talking about the worldwide manosphere, or what some black guys call the white manosphere. He said, I think Alan Roger Currie is one of the pioneers of the manosphere. He said probably his most key contribution to the manosphere was that him first introducing his 5 archetypes of women. He said that those 5 archetypes of women have helped me understand women greatly, and I think it's helped a lot of men understand the psychology of women greatly. Yeah. Everybody knows, man, you're never going to buy into my mode 1 approach if you don't co-sign with my 5 archetypes of women, which again are reciprocators, rejectors, wholesome pretenders, erotic hypocrites, and manipulative time wasters. All of those, technically I would say all 5 of those are my original archetypes. At minimum, at least 3. Now, you could say reciprocators, rejectors was kind of already out in the universe already. But I was the one who originated the archetype of the wholesome pretender, the erotic hypocrite, and the manipulative time waster. And so anyway, so what I was saying was, mode 1 always works. How does it always work? It always works in this sense. When it comes to helping you quickly and effectively identify which archetype a woman falls into, in that regard, mode 1 always works. Mode 1 has never failed to work. Mode 1 has never failed to help a man quickly identify if he's dealing with a reciprocator, a rejector, a wholesome pretender, an erotic hypocrite, or a manipulative time waster. Never. Never. I literally will pay you $10,000 if you can prove that mode 1 has failed to help you identify one of those 5 archetypes of women. You have my word. I'll pay you $10,000 if you can prove to me that after you use mode 1, you still were not able to identify at least one of those archetypes of women. Once you use mode 1 with a woman, she's always going, over the period of the next minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, once you're mode 1 with a woman, she's going to always reveal herself as being one of those 5 archetypes. Always. In every instance. Like, for example, this brother who was criticizing me and saying he needs an in-field video, and I'm going to touch on that in a few minutes. He said, yeah, man, I saw this video of this guy that was being direct with women about the fact that he wanted to have sex with them, and he got rejected by all women. I forget the number. Let's say 10 women. He said he was being direct with like 10 women, and he got rejected by all of them, and it proves that mode 1 don't work. No, it don't. No, it don't. I would vehemently argue with him. No, it doesn't. What that means, mode 1 did work. It helped him quickly identify that all 10 women were rejectors. It helped him very quickly identify that all 10 women were not interested in having sex with him. I call that success rather than, see, some guys look at that as failure. And that's where I'm different than 99% of the guys on this earth. I look at that as success. He didn't waste no time taking them out to dinner, no money, taking them out to dinner, lunch, whatever, talking to them on the phone, sitting around exchanging bullshit stories. He didn't waste no time, no money. How is that not success? How? Explain that to me like I'm a 3rd grader. See, here's the problem with most of you guys, man. The vast majority of you guys out here, and I've always said, any guy who who uses indirect verbal game on a regular basis rather than direct verbal game, you're profoundly afraid of rejection. You have a profound fear of rejection. I just did a video about what? Week and a half, 2 weeks ago about that. Any guy who regularly uses some variation of mode 2 or some variation of mode 3, which both represent indirect verbal game, is because you're afraid of rejection and you're afraid of negative reactions and responses. And when it comes down to nitty-gritty, see, most of you guys who are fans of mode 2 or mode 3, y'all would rather be friend-zoned by a woman and then rejected than to be quickly, straightforwardly, abruptly, or harshly rejected. That's what y'all want to be. Y'all would rather be friend-zoned. And you playing right into women's hands. Particularly, speaking of my archetypes, particularly the archetype of the manipulative time waster. When you choose that option, you're playing right into the hands of a manipulative time waster because that's what they want to do. Manipulative time wasters don't want to reject you too quickly or too straightforwardly. That's the difference between them and a genuine rejecter. See, a genuine rejecter is a woman that has no problem rejecting you quickly, straightforwardly, and even at times harshly. Manipulative time waster, she never wants to do that. She wants to play you first and then reject you. She wants to exploit you for access to your non-sexual time, attention, and companionship, and or exploit you for your financial resources and material possessions first, and then reject you days later, or weeks later, or months later. That's what manipulative time waster wants to do. And a lot of you guys, y'all play right into the manipulative time waster's hands because you're scared of rejection. If a woman ain't interested in having sex with me, I want to know that in the first 5 minutes or less of my very first conversation. So I never look at rejection as a bad thing or a representative of failure like you wimpy guys do, you verbal cowards do. So y'all look at rejection as failure. And that's what separates y'all motherfuckers from a bad motherfucker like me. Just admit it, man. You ain't got the balls and backbone that I do. You don't. And you don't want to come out and say that. You don't. You don't have the balls and backbone that I do. You're not the bad motherfucker that I am. I'm badder than all you indirect motherfuckers in terms of these three things. When it comes to being verbally bold, upfront, specific, and straightforwardly honest, and sexually provocative, or even more so sexually explicit with women within the first 5 minutes or less of my very first conversation with a woman, none of you indirect motherfuckers are on my level. You want to know the one person who either is in the manosphere or at least used to be in the manosphere that will give you a testimony on my behalf? And I've mentioned this before. Sasha Day, who I used to collaborate with between 2010 and roughly late 2014, early 2015. Sasha Day. He's the one person, notable person who's fairly well known in the manosphere that gave me that testimonial years ago. And if you're not familiar with Sasha Day, first I'll give you his credentials. Sasha Day started out being a wingman for Eric von Markovic, aka Mystery Method. That was his starting point. He used to be Eric von Markovic's like right-hand man. Like you could almost say one of his wingmen and closest friends. Matter of fact, Sasha Day actually told me he once helped finance Eric von Markovic's early ventures. Second thing on his resume, he's hung around just about every major conventional pickup artist and dating coach in the world, particularly Caucasian. I don't know how many brothers he's hung around, but when it comes to Caucasian pickup artists and dating coaches, he's arguably hung around more of them than any person in the manosphere. He's collaborated with them and hung around them, if only for a day or two, more than anybody. More than literally anybody that I can think of in the manosphere. And after he hung around this brother right here in London, this is what he said about me. And again, this is probably my fourth, fifth, sixth time telling this story. But yeah, man, when he hung around me in London for the Direct Dating Summit, He said, Alan, I'm going to tell you, man. He said, just what I just said. He said, man, I've hung around a lot of PUAs and dating coaches. He said, I can say on record, he said, man, I ain't never hung around a PUA dating coach who has been more verbally bold, more straightforwardly honest, and used more sexually provocative and sexually explicit language with a woman in the first 3 to 5 minutes of his first conversation with a woman more than you. He said, I can't even think of a guy who's a close second. That's what Sasha Dayan said. He said, I can't even think of a guy who's a close second to you. Now, on one end, did Sasha Dayan witness me use my one to the point where a woman ended up sucking my dick or me fucking that woman? No. And I ain't going to try to act like he did. But in terms of him just witnessing that I have the balls and backbone to say anything I fucking feel like to a woman, yeah, he witnessed that multiple times while I was in London. He witnessed that multiple times. Much to the point, we had one incident in a restaurant where I was so verbally bold and sexually explicit with a woman. He actually said I made him feel uncomfortable. He said, Alan, he was kind of half lighthearted, half serious, but he was like, Alan, man. He said, man, see, you got to understand, before I went to London, Sasha, he admitted to me later, he thought I was all hype, as I'm sure some guys on YouTube still do to this day. He thought some of my like verbal seduction stories were exaggerated and some of my instances of being really verbally bold and sexually explicit were hyperbole. So he was a little bit skeptical. He thought I was more hype than substance. But see, after he hung around me, as most people do if they've hung around me in real life, he saw I was the real deal. And anyway, we had this one instance in a restaurant where I was like mowing one hardcore with a woman, and we were walking out the restaurant, and he just had this dumbfounded look on his face. I said, what's up, man? And he just shook his head. He was like, man, Alan, he said, I didn't know what to expect before you came to London. He basically ended up saying everything I just said. He said, I kind of thought some of your stories of being verbally bold and sexually provocative with women in the first few minutes, I thought it was kind of, just hype. But he said, man, what I just witnessed in the restaurant, he said, I'm a man. I consider myself a man, a masculine man. He said, your verbal boldness made me almost feel uncomfortable like a woman would or something. He said, dude, I ain't never been around a man who's as bold as you, man. Ever. That's what Sasha told me. He said, man, I ain't never been around a dude who's as verbally bold, combination of verbally bold, straightforwardly honest, and sexually provocative and explicit as you are, man. He said, I've never been around a man in my life that's on your level in that category. Yeah, I not only was I mowing one hardcore with a woman, usually I wait till I'm alone with a woman to be mowing one car. It was people around. Like I was being mowing one hardcore with a woman she was like the assistant manager of this particular restaurant. Man, her coworkers were within an earshot. There were even some customers that were within an earshot, and they heard me being mowing one hardcore. And that's what made Sasha feel a little bit uncomfortable, because there was other people who could hear most of the conversation I was having with this woman. And they was like looking like, holy shit, that guy is bold. Yeah, man, I ain't no shame in my game, man. I ain't scared to say shit. I ain't scared to say shit to a woman. I ain't scared to say shit, man. I don't give a fuck. Some people might say, well, you could have been thrown out the restaurant. So? I ain't scared to say shit, man, because I got balls and backbone, man. No, the brother at times has tripped out over me about how verbally bold. He's been in a situation where he's heard me and seen with his own eyes me being super duper verbally bold with women to the point where he was like, damn, dude, I can't believe you just said that to that woman. I ain't scared to say shit, man. Because I'm a bad motherfucker, man. Y'all can say I'm being bragging on myself by saying that, but it's the truth. When it comes to the category of balls and backbone, man, I'm a bad motherfucker, man. I ain't scared to say shit. And some guys say, hey, Alan, I'm sure some of the times you've been verbally bold and sexually explicit, well, I'm sure you've had to gotten slapped or had a drink thrown in your face. Never, ever. Never. I told y'all, there's only one time a woman has ever slapped me in response to me making an advance towards her. And that was a woman, I was at a house party, and this woman smiled at me, and she had really nice breasts. And I just went up to her and grabbed her breasts. I groped her, basically, which I don't encourage any man to do. You're not supposed to just grope women. But this when I was in my mid-20s, I just groped this woman's breasts, and she slapped me. And I deserved it. That was a situation where I would say I deserved it. But as far as just a woman slapping me in regards to me being Mo 1 hardcore or saying something verbal, I ain't never had no woman slap me, ever. I ain't never had no woman throw a drink in my face because of me being Mo 1 hardcore, ever. Guys will say, well, Alan, I know you probably had some drama maybe with a woman's male friend or boyfriend or something like that. Not really. I've talked about before, I can name 2 incidents you could say that could have been drama, but it really wasn't. One was a grocery store incident. I've talked about this, I think, at least a couple times on previous videos, but I'll say it again. One time I was in a grocery store and I was Mo 1 hardcore with a woman. And I always tell guys, before you say anything provocative or X-rated, look at their finger to see if they got an engagement ring or a wedding ring. And in this instance, I didn't do that. And so in the midst of me being Mo 1 hardcore, she said, so you want to hook up with me and fuck me, huh? I said, hell yeah, I want to fuck the shit out of you. She said, well, I think I'll have to ask my husband first. And her husband wasn't right next to her at the moment we was talking. Then he came out of nowhere from another aisle. Now, on paper, you would think major drama would happen. He ended up laughing about it because she ended up telling him what I said, which was a Mo 1 hardcore approach. And he said, oh, really? So you want to fuck my wife, huh? And I was like, well, now that I know she married, I said, nah. And he said, man, he went on to say, he said, actually, man, I give you props, man, for using such a bold approach, man. He said, I respect that. So he actually was cool with it. He said, I respect. He said, but here's where I got to criticize you. What's your name? I said, Alan. He said, man, you didn't notice this big-ass rock on her finger? I said, no, not until after I shot my bid. I said, but once I started talking, she let me know she was married. And then he said, man, I ain't mad at you. We even shook hands. He like shook my hand. He said, hey, man, I ain't mad at you. He said, because my wife is a beautiful, sexy woman. He said, man, I'm sure a lot of guys wanna hit on her in the manner that you did. He said, I've seen guys look at my wife with flirtatious eyes and lustful eyes, but they never had the balls to just approach her like that. But he said, I give you props on how bold your approach was. But he said, man, dude, if I had to give you some advice, he said, always look for the ring. And that's actually what I do tell men to this day. I said, always look for the ring. You could say I got that advice from him. So anyway, that was one time I almost had potential drama as a result of being Mo 1 with a woman, and more specifically, Mo 1 hardcore. Another time was when I lived in LA. I was at a bar in Santa Monica. And I was talking to this beautiful Caucasian blonde, and I was Mo 1 hardcore with her. Now, she didn't have a problem with it. We ended up exchanging numbers. And then after talking to me, she went back to this group. It was like 2 other guys and 3 other women. Then all of a sudden, one of the guys comes to me, and it turns out it was this woman's older brother. And he was like, hey, man, do you always talk to women in a rude, crass, disrespectful manner? And I said, who's asking? He said, that woman you just talked to, man, that was my little sister, man. That was my little sister. I was like, and so what's your problem? And he said, she told me a lot of the stuff y'all talked about, man. I think it's inappropriate, man, for you to be using that type of language with my little sister. And I just simply said, was she offended? Which is the most important question. I said, was she offended? Or are you just being offended because you don't like the way I talk to your sister? I said, but the key question is, was she offended? And he tried to say, it don't matter. I said, it does matter. I said, if she didn't have a problem with it, which by all signs, while I was talking to her, she didn't seem to have a problem with it. So why you got a problem with it? And then he said, man, I'm just trying to give you some helpful advice, man. You shouldn't talk to, women like that. I said, hey, man, if she comes over here and tells me she bothered, then I'll deal with it that way. But you, I don't want to hear from you. I said, now, if you still got a problem, we can handle this like men. And then he just waved his hand. He said, yeah, whatever. And then he walked off. But anyway, man, so for those people who say, hey, man, Alan, I'm sure you've gotten slapped. Nope. I'm sure you've gotten a drink thrown in your face. Nope. I'm sure you had a guy try to start a fight with you. Not really. Nope. That guy, now that one guy I just described, we could have potentially came to blows, but I could tell he really didn't want that. He didn't want to fight. He didn't want to fight. I ain't scared to say shit to a woman. Motherfucker want to come at me? I say go for it. If you bad enough, go for it. But I'm married now, so it don't make no difference now. But when I was young and single, shit, I was ready for all comers, man. I ain't gonna let nobody intimidate me. Ain't nobody gonna intimidate me or try to bully me. Ever. So anyway, now let me get on this infield video stupid shit. Again, this black male YouTuber said, I'm not going to believe Mo One works until I see it work on an infield video. I already did at least minimum 2 videos regarding this infield video stupid shit. That's the dumbest thing in the world, man, to me, man. It is. It really is. It's just, here's my basic thing. I ain't going to be long on this. Number one, I worked in media and entertainment industry. Now, I can't speak for all countries. I can only speak for the United States. Number one, a sizable percentage of infield videos are fake. I know that for a fact. And I explained it in more detail in a previous video I did. I'll put a link to it in my comment section. I don't have the time to go through a whole lengthy thing. But yeah, I don't know the exact percentage. If I had to give a rough estimate, I say no less than 1/3 of all the quote-unquote infield videos you see uploaded by conventional PUAs and indirect verbal game dating coaches, they're fake. They use hired actresses and hired models. Trust me, I've seen them be made, dude. I saw one well-known Caucasian PUA, who I'm not going to say his name. He was actually doing a instructional video, teaching other PUAs how to create fake infield videos using a green screen. I saw it with my own eyes, man. And in the chat room was a whole bunch of well-known Caucasian PUAs learning how to create fake infield videos. I should call his name out, but I ain't gonna do it. But he's a fairly well-known Caucasian PUA. Yeah, he was teaching guys how to make fake. He uses a green screen and he hires actresses, models, or both. And when he finished doing his editing and producing, it looks real. It looks like he's approaching a strange woman on the street. But in reality, the woman's a paid model, paid actress. And for the infield videos that are not fake, they're a combination of illegal and unethical. Again, I know this from working in media and entertainment. You cannot film yourself talking to a woman, particularly for commercial purposes. If you're involved in an endeavor that's designed to make money, you cannot secretly film women or audio tape you talking to women without their permission, without their knowledge. That's illegal. That is illegal. If you're going to videotape and audio tape yourself talking to a woman, you have to do one of two things, if not both. You have to either get her permission before you do it, before you start talking to her. You got to say, I got to let you know I'm videotaping you now and audio taping this conversation. You got to let them know that. Yeah, you got to let them know that. And if you didn't let them know at the beginning of the conversation, at the end of the conversation, you have to let them know, and they have to sign a waiver form. They have to sign a waiver form. Again, I can't speak for every single country across the globe, but I know for a fact in the United States, that's how you got to do it. You got to do one of those two things. You either have to let them know before the conversation starts, this is going to be videotaped and audio taped, or after that conversation comes to a conclusion, you have to let them know that it was videotaped and audio taped. And on top of that, they have to sign a waiver. If you don't do one of those two things, if not both, you can be sued in court. And I know of at least 2 dating coaches that have been sued in court. I know of at least 2 that have been sued in court. One was a black dating coach. Y'all know one, I ain't gonna say his name, one guy left the country because he was about to get his ass sued. One guy temporarily left the country. He's a New York-based dating coach. He left the country because one of the women who he videotaped and audio taped, her father was a big-time attorney in Manhattan. He was about to sue the fuck out of this dating coach. You can't do that, man. So again, most of the videos you watch, at least the ones that are filmed here in the United States, they're either fake, or if they're not fake, they're a combination of illegal and unethical. Like, for example, my show, The Erotic Conversationalist, which I've had a lot of course, triple X-rated conversations with women, had women playing on their pussies. I wouldn't have been able to have those conversations with those women in a secret manner. Each of those women that I talk to when I interview women on both Blog Talk Radio, my regular show, Upfront and Straightforward, and my more risque show, The Erotic Conversationalist, I would tell the women up front, number one, that this interview is going to be listened to by the general public, and that I'm going to be using a bunch of explicit language during the course of the interview that might result in you masturbating, me masturbating, or both of us. I would tell women that up front so that they couldn't later on say, well, I didn't know I was being, I didn't know this was a public interview. I thought this was just a conversation between me and Alan. I didn't know this was going to be listened to by the general public. Yeah, man, see, that's because I have a background working in media and entertainment. You can't, man, all them infill videos, man, I'm telling you, man, they bullshit. Here's my third criticism. I got at least one more criticism. A lot of the infill videos I have seen, they were bullshit. All they did was show a guy approaching a woman, initiating a conversation with her, and then proceeding to engage in just a basic, conventional, friendly, flattering, and entertaining conversation. That don't mean shit. That don't mean shit. And I've said that 100 million times. Watching somebody engaging in a friendly, flattering, and entertaining conversation, that don't mean shit. That don't mean shit. 90% of infill videos I've seen, it didn't involve the woman saying something like, "Ooh, you got my pussy so wet," or "Ooh, I want to suck your dick," or "Ooh, I want you to fuck me." At most only maybe 5 to 10% of the infill videos I watched did the woman declare a definite interest in having sex with the guy. I'd say, yeah, if I'm being generous, maybe 10%, more like 5%. But I would say 90 to 95% of the infill videos I've seen, all the women did was engage in a conversation that was basic, conventional, friendly, flattering, and entertaining. If you go back and listen to my shows on Blog Talk Radio, Upfront and Straightforward, and Erotic Conversations, I literally had women saying, Alan, I want to suck your dick. Alan, I want you to fuck me. I had women actually giving me definite indicators of interest that they wanted me to fuck them in real life. I ain't never heard none of these conventional PUAs get a woman to that point where a woman was saying something like, ooh, my pussy is dripping wet. Ooh, I can't wait to suck your dick. Ooh, I can't wait for you to fuck me. I ain't never heard these motherfuckers make no woman say no shit like that. And because they didn't make no woman say that, and they infant don't mean shit.
Dominate me, daddy.
Say it again.
Dominate me, daddy. Dominate me, daddy.
Play with that fucking pussy for daddy. You two are my obedient what?
Good bitches.
Say it again.
Good bitches.
What you playing with for daddy?
Pussy. Oh.
Say it again.
Oh. Daddy, turn up your dick.
Why you getting off on watching a guy just be able to engage in just a friendly, flattering, entertaining, basic, conventional conversation with a guy, with a woman? I don't mean shit. I don't mean shit. Any woman is going to be willing to engage in a conversation with you if you're talking about just basic, conventional shit, like how great the weather is and, you know, oh, you got a pretty dress on. That don't mean shit to me, man. That don't mean shit. So, to wrap up this video and give a recap, I talked about 3, maybe 4 things. Number 1, I started off talking about this guy who was hating on me in the chat room when Sweet Melody Speaks interviewed me. Come to find out, this dude got a hatred for what he refers to as light-skinned pretty boy types. No wonder he was hating on me. He's jealous that I'm more handsome than him and that I'm more popular with women than him. What else is new? Number 2, had another brother, and this is a brother who has previously endorsed Mo 1 to his listeners and viewers on his YouTube channel. Now he's all of a sudden saying, I'm not going to believe the Mo 1 approach is credible until I see it work in an infield video. Mo 1 always works. I'll give somebody $10,000 if they can prove it don't. And again, when I say it always works, I didn't say Mo 1 always helps you get laid. I didn't say that. So carefully listen to my words. I didn't say Mo 1 always helps a man get laid. Again, if you 5'2" and you weigh 350, 400 pounds, you got 5 teeth in your mouth, and you only take a bath or a shower once or twice a month, Mo 1 ain't gonna never help you. I don't care how many women you approach and be Mo 1 with. It ain't gonna help you get laid. But it's gonna help you quickly identify the rejectors. Mo 1 ain't no magic trick. It ain't no magic pill. I don't know how many times I got to say that. Here's what Mo 1 always works. It always helps you quickly and effectively identify one or more of these 5 women. Mo 1 will always help you identify if a woman's a reciprocator, a rejector, a wholesome pretender, an erotic hypocrite, or a manipulative time waster. When you Mo 2 or Mo 3, you're going to, at minimum, if you're Mo 2 or Mo 3 with a woman, it's going to slow down the process of you being able to identify which one of those 5 archetypes a woman is. At minimum, it's going to slow down the process of you identifying which of those 5 archetypes the woman you're talking to falls under. And at maximum, you're not going to be able to identify which one of those 5 archetypes, period. For example, you take a rejector, what I was just talking about. If you go up to a woman and engage her in just friendly, flattering, entertaining conversation, what does she have to reject? What does she have to reject? She don't have nothing to reject. She's just going to simply friend zone your ass. Instead of rejecting you, she's just going to friend zone your ass. I don't like to be friend zoned. See, what I notice about a lot of you guys, man, who hate on Mo 1 and disagree with the basis of Mo 1, y'all must have a high tolerance for having your time and money wasted by women who are not interested in you. I don't. I have an extremely low tolerance for having my time and money wasted. Like, I remember I was interviewing a guy on Blog Talk Radio once. He goes by the pseudonym Black Dragon. I think his real name is Caleb Jones. We got into a philosophical debate because he actually said during my interview, he said he doesn't mind going out on a dinner date with a woman and spending 2 or 3 hours engaged in conversation with that woman, even if he don't get no pussy at the end of the date. I was like, hell no. Man, I'd shoot myself in the head before I allow myself to do some stupid shit like that. I would never spend no 3 hours having a conversation with a woman on a date and then don't end up in pussy. Well, the one exception would be if I looked at her as long-term girlfriend or future wife material. That would be my one exception. But for casual sex, if my objective is casual sex, I would never, ever, ever do that. Ever. I'd shoot myself in the head first. I swear to God I would. I'd shoot myself in the head first. I ain't gonna allow no woman to waste my time like that. Just to engage in some friendly, flattering, and entertaining conversation. So y'all Mode 2, Mode 3 guys, y'all got a high tolerance for being friend-zoned and more specifically to have y'all time and money wasted. I don't like to waste more than roughly 15 minutes talking to a woman if that woman ain't genuinely interested in having sex with me. That's real talk. I don't like to talk to a woman for no more than roughly 15 minutes if that woman is not genuinely interested in having sex with me. Get it? Got it? Good.
Yes, sir.
Say it again.
Yes, sir.
Who's the king?
Alan, you're the king.
Say it again.
Alan, you're the king. You're dominating me.
Say it again.
Alan, you're dominating me right now. Mode 1. Mode 1.
Daddy, can I go, please? You're the king.
Say it again.
Oh, you're the fucking king. Yes. Yes. Yes.
You're the king, Alan.
AKA the king of verbal seduction. You know, it's the tone of your voice, how seductive your intonations are, the vibrations that you could just reach out over the phone lines and stroke a woman's breast just by the sound of your voice, how you could make her pussy so wet just by the sound of your voice. That's actually very hot.
So you said my show was what?
I said your show is powerful.
Oh, say it again.
Your show is powerful.
I bet the king would fuck me really good.
Who's the king?
Alan Roger Currie.
Oh, yeah. Who's the king?
Alan Roger Currie. The king.
The king.
The king.
I have to agree with you on the communication piece because I actually did take a session with Alan Roger Currie, and he gave me a line that I did not think was going to work, and it worked. And I was like, "What the fuck?"
Oh my God! Man, he's the master. He's the master of the verbal seduction. He got that communication piece down pat.
It really worked. Yeah. It just simply worked, and I just didn't think it was going to work at all.
Some guys have natural handles. Some guys have a better natural shot, but you can always improve your shot. And sex is damn sure something you can fucking learn. Look, dude, you want to learn how to talk better? I'm hiring Alan Roger Currie to get my dirty talk game on. Because it's always been something I want to get better at.
Verbal seduction, man. I'm like, clearly, this guy is the Michael Jordan of seduction. Like, come on now.